Another day, another story. Adolf Hitler's rise to power in Germany began in the early 1920s. Following World War I, Hitler was a former soldier who had served in the German army during the war, and he became involved in far-right politics in the years that followed. In 1919, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, which would later become the Nazi Party. He quickly rose through the ranks of the party, becoming its leader in 1921. Hitler used his charisma and powerful oratory skills to attract large crowds to Nazi rallies, where he espoused his extreme nationalist and anti-Semitic views. Hitler's message resonated with many Germans who were disillusioned with the political and economic chaos that had followed World War I. The Nazis promised to restore order and prosperity to the country, and many Germans saw Hitler as a strong leader who could deliver on these promises. In 1923, Hitler attempted to seize power in a failed coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch. He was arrested and imprisoned, but the publicity he received during his trial and imprisonment helped to raise his profile and increase his popularity. After his release from prison in 1924, Hitler worked to rebuild the Nazi Party and expand its influence. The party's message of nationalism and anti-Semitism continued to resonate with many Germans, and by the early 1930s, the Nazis had become a major political force in the country. In 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg. Within months, he had consolidated his power and established a dictatorship. Hitler quickly began implementing policies to consolidate Nazi control over all aspects of German society. One of Hitler's first acts as Chancellor was to pass the Enabling Act, which gave him dictatorial powers and allowed him to rule by decree. He used these powers to suppress political opposition, establish concentration camps for political dissidents, and begin a campaign of persecution against Jews and other minority groups. Hitler also began a massive program of rearmament, rebuilding the German military and expanding the country's industrial base. He used public works projects and other government spending to create jobs and stimulate the economy, which helped to bolster his popularity among ordinary Germans. By the mid-1930s, Hitler's regime had become increasingly aggressive in its foreign policy, seeking to expand German territory and influence in Europe. In 1936, Hitler sent German troops into the Rhineland, a move that violated the terms of the Treaty of Versailles and marked the beginning of Germany's aggressive rearmament and expansion. Hitler's aggressive foreign policy eventually led to the outbreak of World War II in 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. The war would prove to be a disaster for Germany, ultimately leading to the collapse of Hitler's regime and the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945. Overall, Hitler's rise to power was facilitated by a combination of factors, including the political chaos and economic instability that followed World War I, his own charisma and powerful oratory skills, and the appeal of his extreme nationalist and anti-Semitic views to many Germans. Once in power, Hitler used a combination of brute force and propaganda to establish a dictatorship and suppress political opposition, while also implementing policies to strengthen the German economy and military.